The second package of discussion will focus on the just signed $3.5 billion gas deals by NNPC and Akwa Ibom State Government. Well, here we are. Let's take an intro of our first discussion segment as the world population continues to grow, with projection reaching 9.7 billion by 2050. The pressure on agricultural system to produce more food sustainability is intensifying. This challenge is exhibited by factors such as climate change, soil degradation, water scarcity, and socioeconomic inequalities. Similarly, Nigerian population by 2050 is projected to hit approximately 401.3 million people. This represents a significant increase from the estimated 234.5 million in the year 2025. However, this growth combined with the current food insecurity is affecting over 100 million Nigerians and presents a major challenge for food production. In this regard, what solution do we have for food insecurity in Nigeria? And the demand today is the question on the role of agricultural extension services in Nigerian food security system. Globally, agricultural extension in food security and supply value chain underscore the indispensable role of agricultural extension in achieving global food security, with greater emphasis on countries such as Nigeria to focus on continued innovation, adoption in extensive practice to meet evolving challenge in the agricultural sector. On the show today, we want to explore how agricultural extension services can help us address the 4 dimensions of food security, which is 1, availability, 2, access, 3, utilization, and 4, stability. Joining me on the show today is Professor Idris Olabode Badiru of the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development, University of Ibadan. Prof, a very good day to you, and thanks for joining me on the show right now.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to ask you right now is, Prof, how is your own assessment of Nigerian agricultural extension services? Your own assessment of Nigerian agricultural extension services.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's like asking me to score my constituency. And I've never seen anybody that will be given the O and will refuse to do the epping towards himself. But to be factual, the extension delivery system in Nigeria has performed to the extent and or to the extent of what is made available to it. It depends on the perspective from which you want to look at it. Over time, when there was funding for agric extension, extension performed creditably well. We are talking about the glorious era of extension in Nigeria, and that is between 1980s and the 1990s, when we had the World Bank support for agricultural extension. Everything was almost perfect. But for a while now, we've been battling some challenges in the sector. In spite of that, we still see a pockets of achievements here and there, particularly from the northern states. And I can also say to some extent in Lagos State, we've been seeing a lot of good performances from the state government towards the extension system. Some other states too, they've been doing their best, but I think these are the top performers. So we can't really paint the extension system with one single brush like that. We have states that are doing well. We have states that are doing not so bad. And we have some states that are not even there at all.
Very interesting. But Prof, most of our viewers watching me right now, particularly the younger ones watching us right now, will be asking question, what is the roles of agricultural extension service in food security? You're an expert there. You are the one teaching, bringing out the research, the empirical and both practical one to our young ones who are learning. But for those who are outside there, who may not have been hearing the word extension service for the first time, can you help us understand the rules of extension services in food security?
Yeah, simply put, without talking about terminologies or what have you. Extension is simply about improving the capacity of those who are involved in the production of food and the basic things of life, particularly those in the rural areas, linking them up with improving their capacity and linking them up to the needed change or the source of change. In this case, we are talking about the linkage between the researchers and the end users of the effort of the researchers, who are the, let me use farmers in this case. The extension acts as a link in between the two. So we stand in between those who are the core scientists and the farmers who will make use of whatever they have done at the end of the day. So in this way, we look at what the farmers need. We bring it to the attention of the researchers. And whatever the researchers have done that are good for the farmers, we bring it to the attention of the farmers too. Now, beyond that, now we look at issue of safety. We look at what would be good for the consumers at large. And we look at what the consumers also want. We tell the farmers that, okay, this is the farmers, the consumers, they want this size of yam, for instance. They want it to taste this way. So when you are producing, we want you to be able to produce this kind of things so that you'll be able to sell at the end of the day. Now, the issue of their safety, they don't want the chemical to be more than this. So it should be in this realm. So because of what we do, we act as a link between the researchers and the farmers and the researchers, the farmers and the market and the consumers. And we act as a link between the market now and the researchers. So we are like linkage. Somebody that stays in the middle to make sure that all these stakeholders that we talk about, they have an understanding and do come up with a produce that will be satisfactory to all of them at the end of the day, so that they will all be in business.
Exactly. Now, talking about the all being in business, I can deduce that one of the key aim of Agri Extension Service is to bridge the gap between research and practice. But let's tailor it down to governance policy in terms of agricultural implementation policy in Nigeria. How has the government received, and make use of most of the research coming from extension experts like you in implementing the agricultural policy? I could recall just recently there are over 2,000 tractors that have been distributed across Nigeria. Millions of fertilizers have been distributed across Nigeria. What role do you guys play in ensuring this kind of innovative come from government as well as get to the farmers at the end of the day?
Well, the good thing about it is that there's no governor in Nigeria today that you call uneducated, or you call illiterate. And the same way you have technocrats around them, those they have as SAs, those they have as commissioners. Some of them are drawn from the universities. Now, so because of that, many of them understand the role of data in whatever they do. So they want to do whatever they want to do. They want it to be based on evidence that we can get from research. So to some extent, they are making use of some of these research outputs. Recently, in 2023, there was a national agricultural extension policy that was formulated at the national level. It was an effort, an output of the efforts of those of us who are researchers, who are in our professional bodies like Agricultural Extension Society of Nigeria, like NIFAS and what have you, the NGOs. All of us, we came together to come up with this particular policy to be guiding extension. We may not be adhering strictly to the letters of what we have in this document, but at least we have a document for any government that is interested in making use of it to do so. So they have been making use of some of these, because it would be uncharitable to say they are not using it at all. I won't come on air to come and tell you something like that. They are using some of the outputs, though we would have loved a situation whereby whatever we are doing in terms of policy implementation, that everything should be according to they should be based on some of these evidences that we get from some of our researchers.
Exactly.
But to some extent, they are still making use of some of these efforts.
Exactly. Now, Prof, let's now look at how agricultural extension can help us solve 4 major food security challenges in Nigeria. One is availability. Second is access. Then the third one, utilization, and the last is stability. But let's first look at utilization. How can we strengthen utilization of equipment, technology, and innovation in Nigerian food system? Because majority of the farmers that you see, over 40 million household farmers, they are not yet equipped, they are not yet knowledgeable about the innovation in technology as well as tech in agri per se. But from your own understanding, how can we bring that to their table?
Yeah, thank you. You see, when we talk about utilization of machineries, utilization of technology, utilization of innovation, is the core of what we teach our students in agricultural extension. There is a course that anybody that has passed through the 4 walls of the university and has read agricultural extension will have taken. It is called the diffusion and adoption of innovations. It talks about how new technologies, innovations, machineries, how we can make the farmers, the stakeholders, to make use of them. So, like all these technologies that we are talking about, there are certain attributes that we call perceived attributes of technologies or innovations that must be present before our farmers are able to use. The first of it is what is called relative advantage. Whatever you are bringing should be better than what the farmers are using before. If it's better than it, they may want to use it. It must not be too complex. Issue of complexity is very, very important. So it must be user-friendly. If you are bringing in anything, it must be something that they can use with ease. The concept of divisibility is there. It's something that at least they can use a small portion. They can, some of them are not as rich as some of these big corporate farmers. So it's something that at least they can take a small part of it and use it, and some other attributes like that. So these are some of the things we teach our students for them to be able to know how to convince the farmers to make use of this technology. So it is essential that as an extension agent or an extension practitioner, that you provide trainings whenever any new technology comes on board. For instance, they are distributing tractors. It is the role of those who are in extension to provide trainings to the farmers on how they will be able to use this tractor effectively. If it's another innovation, maybe a new, an improved seed, it comes in a package. This is the planting space. This is when you use it. It is the extension agent that will teach the farmer how to use all of this. So extension cuts across all these domains that you have talked about: availability, issue of access, issue of utilization, even issue of sustainability. There are areas that we teach our students to be able to cope with when they get to the field, so that they prepare the farmers to be able to use all these technologies that we're talking about.
Exactly. Now let's look at stability in the Nigerian food system. Instability has become one of the key issues under food insecurity. When I mean stability, we're talking about how we can have consistent food supply chain across Nigeria. But from your own understanding, how can we ensure that we have this stability in Nigerian food system?
Let me first look at it from the perspective of the kind of agricultural system that we practice. Most of the farmers still depend on rain-fed agriculture. If we do this, it means agriculture will continue to be seasonal.
It's true. So
it means around this time, as you can see all over the place, everybody is eating corn, because corn is in abundance.
Exactly.
After a while, when the rain ceases, after a while you discover that maize is no longer, corn is no longer in season. So it means we'll have to do, if we do irrigation farming, for instance, and we are not dependent on rain-fed agriculture, it means maize it's possible to have maize throughout the year. So it's the same thing for virtually most of the agricultural produce that we have. For them to be in season throughout, you need some infrastructure that you need to put in place. For instance, somebody that wants to practice irrigation needs the source of water, needs the sprinklers that you are going to use, and what have you. So it costs money. Now, even if you have it, you still need somebody to train you on how to use it effectively. Because if you are not trained on how to use it effectively, you may even damage the machineries that you have. So the person that will provide the training on how those things are used are the extension practitioners. It is the extension practitioners, again, that will tell you that will make you realize that you cannot continue to depend on rain-fed agriculture. So they create that dissonance in you for you to look for technology that you can use throughout, to produce throughout the year, so that we can have stability in agricultural production. So we also come in, and we act as advocates at times, pressuring the government, bringing it to the attention of the government that farmers cannot continue along this line. You see, you talked about tractors, and I love the fact that they are bringing in tractors.
Exactly.
But I need to look at maintenance. We have Nigeria Center for Agricultural Mechanization, for instance, where some of these trainings can be provided on how to maintain even the tractors and what have you, and to get spare parts and all of this. So there are areas where trainings are required. Wherever training is required, you need extension.
All right, interesting. But let's get to another very dicey aspect of our discussion today. Talking about addressing food availability and access strategy. There's one thing for us to have stability. There's one thing to provide all the tractors, but availability and access is very key. But let's take on the issue of availability first, because the strategy of the government or the strategy of the farmers to get this food out sometimes could be cumbersome as a result of lack of infrastructure, facility, and the rest of them. But from your own understanding, how can we get this availability down via agricultural extension? Because from the agricultural extension, you have said so much about it, but in terms of availability of the food, what role will agricultural extension service provide in this regard?
Yeah, what we can do as extension is continue to advocate that the government sees agriculture beyond its sectoral implications. We see it from the wider perspective, knowing that even if our farmers produce, it will not get to the market if the roads are not okay. And that is why some of us, when the federal government took the state governments to court, to the Supreme Court, and got that judgment that there should be local government autonomy. Some of us, particularly those of us who work in the rural communities, we were so happy, because some of these roads that we are talking about that will make this food available and accessible to our people, they are local government roads, they are state roads. So if they are not in good condition, there's no matter what we do, we've introduced new varieties to the farmers. We've taught the farmers how to produce them. We've taught the farmers to do some other things, even how to process them and what have you. But getting them across to the end users, the consumers, may be troublesome and may be difficult if the roads are not okay. Now, some other infrastructure that need to be put in place, very critical, is power. Even the urban centers, how many of our communities are lit, have stable electricity? And another good thing is, you say the government has done, there is a reform in the electrical sector, that the states now can generate their own power, they can transmit, they can do so many things. It will take time, I understand, for this to materialize, but it's at least we should start from somewhere. Let's start from somewhere let the states be able to invest in power as well. Even the little power that we have for now that we are still transmitting, many of these communities, they need transformers, they need electricity poles, they need cables and what have you. Even the community where I live, the electricity is epileptic. We've been trying to connect ourselves to the grid for a while now, for close to 4 years. We've not been able to do so. Now, talk less of people who are in the rural areas. The last time I went to a particular farm settlement in Oyo State, I discovered that many of these the cables, they are no longer there. Some of the poles, they're falling down. Nobody is doing anything about it. And if we leave it to this distribution company, many of them are irresponsible. They are just there to just make money out of the people. So the government will have to step in to make sure that at least they provide this succor. If there is power in the community, in fact, many of the youths, as long as it will be easy for them to watch their Champions League, to do some other things they want to do while still on the farm, they may want to stay on the farm. But if you make the rural areas look so abject and poor that nobody wants to go there, except when they have lost out, we will not be attracting the new generation into agriculture. And there will be most of what we do as extension practitioners in making sure that the food is available. It will be difficult for the farmers to make it accessible to the end users.
Exactly. Now, talking about access is very key. Access, affordability, there are two key words that in food supply chain that we don't have to miss. But from your own understanding, from your expert opinion, I will say, or I'll ask, how can we make this food accessible to Nigeria? Because it's key that will make it accessible. Insecurity is there, deficit infrastructure is there, but we must make it accessible. So give us your opinion on how to make food accessible to all Nigerians.
You see, I won't deceive you. You see, I'm a friend of the farmer, and I'm pro farmer. So when Nigerians complain about food not being affordable, we don't pity you. The truth is that we don't pity you, because the truth is that a farmer is also a businessman. You don't expect a farmer to invest on his farm and at the end of the day to run at a loss. When he runs at a loss, who takes care of his own family? How will he be able to sustain his business? So as long as the cost of production is high, the food will not be affordable. So the inputs that farmers use, like the seeds, the fertilizers, what he will need to use to preserve in terms of electricity, the cost of electricity, the cost of transportation, the logistics, the cost of labor. All of this, we need to factor them. If they are not cheap, you can't expect food to be cheap. So whatever the government will need to do to make this cost of production to be reduced, if that is done, we should be expecting affordability. But as long as the cost of production is not reducing, whatever our farmers, we will not ask our farmers to to be is it they are not for that Christmas.
Exactly.
They are in business to also survive. So they want to survive. It's simply the cost of production. If the cost of production is reduced, logistic is reduced, you discover that food will be available.
Exactly. Now, Prof, before I let you go, just in 1 minute, agricultural extension is very crucial to the point that the World Bank in a recent report suggests that developing countries like Nigeria must step up their focus on agricultural extension so that the food security issue that we are complaining about in Nigeria, agricultural extension service can come in to provide some solutions for us. But from your own understanding so far, what are the challenges of agricultural extension in Nigeria?
No, the challenges are many. Maybe I should start from even getting students to come and study the agricultural extension. Yours truly didn't want to study agricultural extension. I wanted to study medicine. I found myself in agriculture. So the truth is that everybody looks at agriculture as a second option or a third option. So, and that rubs off on agricultural extension too. So if you don't want to read agric extension, how do we get agricultural extension practitioners? So if you don't take the issue of food serious, we should not be complaining about food not being affordable. So that is a challenge on its own. The societal perception of anybody in agriculture is somebody that should be wretched. Yet they want to eat food at a cheap rate. It's funny. Number two is that even within agricultural extension, we have a policy now, a national policy. How many of the states have what do you call it? Have now at their own level? How many of them have scaled it down to their level so that they'll be able to use the policy? How many of them? Now we have inadequate extension personnel. Go to a lot of states. Some states, you see, they are trying. Some don't even have. In fact, we have a state that the specialized extension unit has even been disbanded. They've just distributed them elsewhere. So we have this challenge. Then another challenge is extension is a social good. It's not something that you'll be looking at as something that will give you immediate return. It's a social good. We are more or less like missionaries. We go to the field, cater to the needs of the farmers. You cannot be expecting extension agents to start, extension agencies, public extension agencies in particular, to start giving us targets like you do for some agencies. We are not FIRS, we are not a Internal Revenue Service. The people we deal with the poor among the farmers that we're trying to bring up to the level that will be commercial in nature. The moment they move beyond our level, they will start looking for private extension practitioners and consultants that will do their work. But most of the people that we deal with are more than 60% of the population who still cultivate at a small level. So, and we need to provide the support for them.
Exactly. Very interesting, Prof. And very interesting. And one thing you said I think we need to take up is state, subnational government, and extension services in their various states. What are they doing in that regard? I hope that we can get discussion around it so that we can do more advocacy around extension service. Because as you speak right now, globally, World Bank, who is majorly putting money in agriculture, is asking that countries like Nigeria must focus on extension services so that they can secure their food supply chain bank. Prof, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure always being on your program.